Pricing strategy is a super interesting topic. So if you run a large business or a small one, this is a topic you've spent some time thinking about. So I find it interesting because it cuts through not just business, but behavioral economics, psychology, and a number of other disciplines. Setting prices for your products and services can be very, very tough. Set prices too high, and you miss out on valuable sales. Set them too low, and you miss out on valuable profit, and maybe even revenue to a certain extent. So much has been written about the different pricing strategies. There are many of them. So I won't go through each one on this video, but I do want to quickly mention a few. So you have competition-based pricing, you have cost-plus pricing, you have freemium pricing, you have hourly pricing. So thinking about pricing, as you can tell, is one of my current obsessions. And when I'm obsessed over a topic, I speak to as many people about it as possible. So I merge some of my thoughts and ideas with the wisdom of the crowd. And I landed on an insight. Now, before I share the insight with all of you, let's lay some principles around pricing. So every consumer has a system for how they buy, and it's called price. Then what happens is a collision between your system as an entrepreneur for selling and the consumer system for buying. And if you don't have a system for selling, then you default to the client system, which is price. So in a world where there's an eternal downward pressure on price, I believe we need to take a whole new approach on how we think about pricing. I believe as entrepreneurs, we're going into a phase where to be able to hold or increase our price, we have to be able to clearly articulate the value that we provide, even more than we're currently doing. So let me give you an example. The beer manufacturer Stella Artois, their pricing strategy is reassuringly expensive. As a matter of fact, they say, we use the most expensive ingredients and pass the cost onto you. So for many people, Stella Artois is the best product in the market because it's the most expensive. On a podcast I heard recently, they were talking about this mattress store in Arizona where they were running full-page ads for mattresses. And they were the only ones doing this in their market. They had a few locations in the States and one in London, because that's where they were manufacturing the mattresses. And their most expensive mattress was $28,000. The CEO was obsessively getting the manufacturer to add more ingredients into the mattress because he knew that they could sell the mattress for more money. So you're probably wondering by now, who buys a $28,000 mattress? The amazing thing was that the buyers weren't even stepping foot in the store. They would call or go online and simply ask the store to send them the most expensive mattress they had. In the book, The Experience Economy, Joseph Klein talks about Starbucks and how Howard Schultz, when he worked for Starbucks, he went to Italy to see how they did cafes there. And he saw firsthand the culture. And he ended up buying Starbucks. But what he did was he took a 2-cent commodity and repackaged it and called it the Grande, the Venti, and started selling it for $5. He knew that he could lower the price and still make enough margin on a 2-cent commodity to where if he did that, it would open up a giant portion of the marketplace. If he offered, let's say, a latte for $1 or $2, but what would happen is he would ruin the experience. Because once it's established that you're paying $5 for a gourmet coffee, it wouldn't feel good if you now had to pay $1 for it. So there's something that would be off about that experience. Another example is the watch industry. So if you're buying a watch, let's say a Timex for $100, you're buying a watch. But if you're paying $10,000 for a Rolex, you're not really just buying a watch. You're buying status. You may rationalize it, but you don't need a $10,000 watch to tell time. The Richard Mille, the watch brand, averages at around $185,000 a piece. They sold $500 million of watches last year. It's an interesting story. Nadal, Formula One drivers, the golfer Bubba Watson, they all wear it. So the founder of Richard Mille wanted to build the best watch possible. So he wanted the lightness, he wanted it to be able to withstand the G-force. It had to be Swiss made, of course. It had to be aesthetically beautiful. So he's famous for first deciding to build the watch. Then he said he would figure out the price later. So they found that they were alone at the $185,000 price point. There were a lot of watches at the $50,000, $75,000 range, but not many in the $185,000. So they underestimated how big the market was for that watch. Of course, the guy who owns a $10 million yacht will have a $185,000 watch. It's an amazing principle, and you're starting to see it every. Another example are diet pills. When is a diet pill worth $153 a bottle? When most of them are $29 to $40. Then comes a pill at $150. It immediately distinguishes them. People start thinking, this can't be any other diet pill that I've tried. So a pricing strategy like that can be an amazing thing. Another example is if Harvard were to cut their price tag to half their tuition fee, it would lose its cachet as the gold standard for higher education. All these examples make me understand two things. First, there's a segment of the population that doesn't feel psychologically good unless they spend a lot of money for something that they equate to be the best. The second thing I learned is that your product and service is the result that you deliver. So let me say that again. Your product and service is the result that you deliver. People who buy a Richard Mille are not buying a watch. You can buy a $100 Timex if you want to buy a watch. They're buying status. Richard Mille is delivering status. Or people paying for a $5 gourmet coffee are paying for the coffee, but they're also paying for the experience that comes with it. So here's the kicker. If what you're selling is more expensive or higher priced than anything else in the market, then make sure it's better than anything else. Be genuine. Make sure your product and service delivers. The more money you can make, the better you can provide the best, because you're not strapped with margins. Now, as for my insight, it's around a model called the results-based pricing. It's really to focus on the result that you deliver. What if you would be paid only after your product and service prove the result? How would you then think about pricing? Now think of that result that you deliver, because your product is not the product or the service. Your product that you're selling is the result that you deliver, like I said. So I want to leave you with a question. How can you enhance the value of your product and service, either directly by adding more ingredients, as that mattress store in Arizona did, or in your marketing, the way Stella Artois does by saying that they only use the best ingredients and pass the cost to the client? Because when you enhance the value, the perceived value, you put yourself in a position to maximize your price. Thank you for watching.